Well. Here we are again. Another week, and you know what that means? It is another podcast. And today's topic is going to be a little rough. This is something that honestly has always been in the back of my head. This is probably one of the first podcasts I wanted to make, but I just didn't know how to approach it. It's hard, it's a little rough, but let's just get into it. So here we go. This is Chocolate Cake, episode 6, and what I like to call 80% faith. Now, there's been a topic of discussion for, I think, almost anybody. Anybody can at least relate to sitting in the topic or hearing someone talk about it. But it's a debate between science and faith. Science and religion. And I've always been pretty much on the fence. I'm on the fence about a lot of things. Let's make that clear. Like, I'm always dipping in both sides because I love knowledge. I love both sides. Usually if I take a side on something, it's got to be like, this or this, or I like and dislike a movie. But on stuff like this is big stuff, like an actual debate. I'm always on the fence. But I tend to lean towards at least one side when talking about this, just a little bit. But I have an understanding of both. So, for example, if you were to ever get into, or like I said, witness a conversation between religion and science, and honestly, for at least from my perspective, it never ends well. It's never a plausible debate that one side says, oh, yes, I believe that's true. You are right about that. It's always one side. This is what happens. This is how I believe about it. And the other side, no, that's not what happened. This was here. This was that. This is the way it happened. Religion and science do not mix at all, period, because they both contradict each other to the fullest. I don't think there's any other debate that you can compare this to. This is just on a next level thing. This is something that honestly will never be solved. Maybe a billion years from now we'll make a time machine or something that put all this to rest, but this is something that to the end of time there will be no answer and no definitive winning for either side. So I'd say about maybe about 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I used to have a group of people who came to my house every single day, and I mean every single day, every single night. Every single night, I had people come over, and one thing that kept coming up is science and religion. And I tried my best to stay out of it. I really did. I tried my best to just listen, but the one thing I cannot stand to this day is full-blown ignorance in one belief. And that stands true to whether you believe in science or religion. I cannot stand when someone is 100% so radical about their idea, so unresponsive to the facts that the other person is saying, so just disrespectful in a way. I mean, you have to at least hear them out and come to some type of agreement, whether agree to disagree. That's just 100% just, I think it's a little ridiculous. So at this point, I believe we had someone new come over. We had someone, I forgot the girl's name, but it was just a friend of a friend. So she came over, and then lo and behold, someone started up a religion and science debate or whatever. And once he started to chime in, it got like really toxic a little bit and a little bit ridiculous, and you really start to find out the kind of person she is and how she governs her life. So on the topic of at the time that was being discussed, someone was talking about I think it was a Big Bang Theory, and so she started to get into it, and she was saying, well, no, Noah's Ark, they found Noah's Ark and this and pretty much not making up, but what she thought was pretty much the scenario to everything that he threw out there, the Big Bang Theory, the evolution. It was contradicted by something she said, and not only was it contradicted, she was clearly uneducated and just was saying pretty much like opinions, but in a way that was annoying and disrespectful. It was like, if you're gonna come with opinions, give me something give me a transcript, something I can read, or a quote, or a scientist's name, or just or I'm sorry, a priest name or something. Just drop something that I can relate to in some way or form to wrap my mind around. But just ignorant things as homosexuality is a sin. So and so it says this in the Bible. This is the way it should be. Prayers every Sunday. The seventh day is for prayer. I was blown away. I've been in debates, but I've never been in a debate where someone was so radical and so unmoving to at least have an idea what I was thinking. So that's when I jumped in. And this is when I tried to explain my side. So once she clearly thought I was on the side of technology and the side of so-and-so is not real, she pretty much was asking where I stayed, or pretty much my opinion. Am I for religion, or for technology, or just evolution and all that? And this is where I said I'm on the fence. And they hate people. Some people can accept it, some people can't. I'm always on the fence. And she says, well, what do you believe in? I said, well, I kind of believe in both. I can't prove you wrong about all the things you said, nor can I prove this guy right about all the things he said. I can't say someone's wrong just because the other's right. I can't do that. There's no way I can physically do that. There's no way nothing I can tell you, nothing I can point to that is going to prove either of you right or wrong. This is both your opinion and debate. So I'm on the fence. And she says, well, what are you going to do when you're about to die? What are you going to do when you pass away? What if you throw in your life for technology and evolution and Big Bang Theory, and you find out you're not going to make it up to heaven? And so I said, no, hear me out right here. I said, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. But there's a lot of things that go unanswered. So when I'm 6 feet under and I see him, I have my questions. I've said this throughout years. I've said this ever since the first debate I've ever said. This is the one thing I'll always say. Whenever I see him, I have my questions. Now, where does the 80% faith come in? And how does that fit in this? Throughout all the years, history is, I don't know if you ever brushed up on history. History is fantastic once you learn about history. Throughout the years, there's been a crusade, the establishment of parliament, the separation of government and church. Religion was very big back then. Religion governed a lot of things. If you were part of the church, you held a higher status. This is something that people could not prove wrong back then. This is something so people, I don't want to be rude, blindly followed. Religion has played a big role in the globe, in the world economy, and everything. Throughout the years, has dwindled down to pretty much a way of living. You don't have to go by it. People can believe in prayer and go to church. But back then, it was a necessity. 80%. Now in this world, we don't have a way to say what is going to happen when we die. We don't have a way to saying evolution was not real or anything. So you have to pick for me, a type of percent to live by. I'm not a scientist. I don't have any scriptures. I'm not any of that stuff. So what I tell people is that I can live my life 80% believing in something. I can't live my life 100% in it because I just don't have any way. Maybe if I became a scientist and I learned about the Big Bang Theory and I learned about evolution personally on hand, that percent will probably go down, maybe like 50, 60% faith. It sounds funny when you really think about it, but this is dear and this is true to me. I live my life 80% with faith. The 20% is everything else. The 20% is my questions. The 20% is the knowledge and the things I've seen. Things that will go unanswered. Things that I've seen, things that I've learned about faith and religion that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things in the Bible people quote, but there's also a lot of things in the Bible that people do not talk about. There's quotes of homosexuality is a sin. There's quotes of mass genocide. There's quotes of women not allowed being able to govern over men. This is why I cannot have 100% in something. And a lot of people say, it was written this and that. Just no. This is why I have 80%. I can't sit here and read a scripture, read the whole Bible and take out the scripture. That is not 100%. 80%. I think 80% is very generous from the way I perceive things. So I'm not going to be 100% on something that literally I'm not 100% on. And this is funny too, because I could never say this to my mom. My mom was always believing in Jesus Christ, and she regularly goes to church. And especially when we were very young, we went to church a lot. She's she's not like a hardcore radical believer in 100% God and faith, but she won't listen, or she won't really think about anything else. So I have 80%. Is that not fair to dip in the pool, dip from both sides of the pool? You can't let something govern 100% of your life. At least that's what I think. I can't be 100% on something. It's just physically impossible for something to be 100% perfect. So I literally have to go about my experiences in life and the things I've seen and the debates that I've been in. The number I have is 80%. It's so simple, and it's just unbelievable to me how some people can not recognize another side. This goes for both religion and evolution and all that stuff. It's mind-boggling when you have someone who is backed by faith and religion, how they say, well, this happened because it says in the Bible. Something that has been literally written and modified throughout the years. You believe that this passage that was written thousands of years ago to be held up to today's standards right now? Oh, yeah. I said, well, what about this? What about this passage? Oh, well, that's that back then they thought. And I was like, no, don't sugarcoat it. Give me just an explanation on what you think about it, literally. Not what Jesus or not what God or not what your pastor thinks. So like, what? I just literally want to know what you think about it. You be able to speak your mind. Faith is a scary thing. It really is. It can be uplifting. It can be a way of people to live through life, live a good life, live a healthy life. But it can be a scary thing when you have faith out there that has driven people to do crazy things. There's been crimes, there's been suicides, there's been genocides from faith. Faith can govern, faith can destroy. It all depends on the followers and the leaders. Have an open mind about everything. You can believe in God and fully understand them, but just have your questions. Your everyday surroundings, just think about it. I asked someone a while back, I said, I didn't say how do you get faith, I said how they thought themselves, they said, this is the way it is. And I asked them, how can I get to that? Out of curiosity. How can I get to where you are? Because this is the way I believe in my things. I was like, not that I wanted to. I was like, so you're telling me if you're like all about the Lord and our Savior and 100% of the Bible and 100% faith and you haven't experienced anything, how do I get to that without you telling me? How can I experience that without you telling me? And they didn't have an explanation. They said, well, you just got to believe that. And I said, no. I don't. How can I experience that? Like how can I experience a miracle in faith without you telling me about it first? They started to think a little. I didn't change their mind, but they started to think about it a little bit. This is a very scary thing to me. So that's why for me, it's a certain percentage. It only makes sense. I dwindle it down to that. 80% faith. Leave my 20% for everything else around me. So at least I can have an understanding if something happens. If a miracle happens, I can understand that. If a scientific miracle happens, I can understand that. I love knowledge and I love experiencing things, and I love new information. I'm always willing to gather anything and at least I love having an arguable debate about things. I had a debate about animal testing, and we weren't given a side, but the debate I had, they gave us animal testing and they said, well, now your side is going to debate for animal testing. The other side had to debate against animal testing, and I killed it. I absolutely manhandled them because I came with facts and understanding and how the world has grown. Now, I don't believe in testing on animals, don't get me wrong. That's where the trickiness was in this debate. So you might not believe in, but it's time for you to present the facts, and that's why I loved it. It wasn't choose your side. And what they had was animals. We love animals. We don't do it. And I went in and I was like, well, this and this happened in 19 this and this, and Peter person was using this, and I actually slaughtered them. Like, it was sad. The only reason why I say this is because look into this stuff for yourself. Don't be governed by what people just tell you. If there was ever anything that I didn't understand, I always go to look it up to see when it was written, who said it, just out of curiosity. So 100% in faith is something I cannot prove, something I cannot physically, visually look up. I can't do that. I can't give you 100% of that. I can't. Whether I'm just built that way, whether I was raised that way, I don't know. I just can't. I can't 100% on it. I don't think there's anything in this world that can happen to me and I'd be 100% on it. I don't think even if I had a time machine and we went all the way back to the past and figured out how the world started, I'd probably be like 99% on evolution and all that stuff. I still have 1% for faith. Or even the other way, like the clouds open up and God grasps me and I go to heaven. I maybe 99% faith. You just have to understand your surroundings in your life. Don't be governed by what one person tells you. And again, this is not diminishing priests or pastors or scriptures you might have heard that govern you to be a better person in life. That's a different story. I'm not saying change your life. I said save 1% or something for other things around you. So I'm very happy if you got a life and Jesus Christ is everything to you. And you believe he's got you a better job, you believe he's gave you great kids, you believe you're going to end your life on a good note, all thanks to Jesus Christ. That is fantastic. You are a good person. You will make it far in life. But all I ask you is just to look at your surroundings and understand that things are not always what someone would tell you. Little rough. I can go on 2 hours about this and have a debate about all this, but it's a subject that will not die. It's a subject that will be brought up countless times, and it is a debate that no side will ever win. Well, so that's it. Very interesting topic. I really didn't want to do it because some people don't like any type of subject matter about God or Jesus Christ or anything, faith. There's so many different types of faiths in this world. Who am I to say what's wrong and what's right? So as long as you don't call someone wrong and you believe in your own faith, and you're a good person. You believe in your own religion, you can understand that this guy across the sea believes in something else. As long as you don't call him wrong, you're doing all right in life. So episode 6 was chocolate cake. Again, I'm gonna post this on Facebook and Spreaker and all that jib jab, and you can catch me on Twitch on Chocolate Heat. Check out my Instagram on Chocolate Heat. I might be Chocolate Heat 712. I can't remember, but everything's Chocolate Heat. Just look up Chocolate Heat on anything. I don't care. My thing's gonna come up. But hey, if you got an opinion, an idea, feel free to comment under it. If you have a topic, let me know. I'll be all about it, and I'm willing to discuss my opinions and facts about it, and I don't know, all that good stuff. Anyway, as always, keep it sexy, keep it classy, but most of all, keep it sexy.